everybody. Hope you're having a beautiful day. We're having about a half a foot of snow here where I live in the last 24 hours or so. It's been great. It's been okay, actually. I don't mind the snow. I just kind of mind the cold, the really, really, really cold weather. Anyhow, all of that aside, I'm coming at you today au naturel, and there's a reason for that. Well, there's two. One is that I have been sick for about 2.5 months with one thing after another, and now I have this gigantic sinus infection that's running rampant. So, with all the nose blowing and all of that, makeup doesn't really apply. The other reason is because today's topic is going to touch base on my last video, which if you haven't seen that, then you should go check it out. It's called Fear, What Drives It? This is going to be touching base on that because I didn't get in everything that I needed to in that video. Otherwise, it would have been another hour-long video, and, not everybody has an hour. So, I wanted to talk kind of primarily about two different types of fear. And in the last one, I talked about fear of essentially what it boiled down to is the belief system that you're not enough. Now, the other one that I want to touch base on, and I'll root it all the way down back to the actual belief system, so you don't really have to do the work on that. And I touch base only on these two because this seems to be the epidemic these days. It's not that we have so much an epidemic of people who are addicted to substances, or that they're depressed, or that they're feeling anxiety. I mean, sure, these are real things, don't get me wrong. But when you look deeper, past the surface, and into yourself, what you discover is that we are all suffering from some form or other of not enough, and the one that I'm going to talk about today. So let's start with a specific instance. So let's say that, and I'll talk kind of like about my own experiences. So let's just say you experienced some sort of abuse when you were younger, or even when you were older. And what happened is during this abuse, at some point, you internalize that as yourself kind of turning away from yourself, right? Because what happens with abuse or any kind of traumatic experience like that is that you trusted that person. So because you trusted that person and they came and turned around and hurt you so deeply, you feel a lack of trust in yourself at that point. And when you feel a lack of trust in yourself, that also signifies that you don't love yourself, or you have less love for yourself. And this constantly starts to evolve throughout your whole life, creating pattern after pattern in relationships with friends, family, partners. It will constantly evolve into deeper and deeper and deeper patterns, reinforcing this idea of a lack of self-love and that you're not even capable. So it kind of intertwines, and a lot of people have both. They have this feeling of not feeling enough or worthy of love, but that also comes back to today's topic, because in essence, the belief system that is behind all of this, when you incur such a traumatic event, you subsequently turn it around and internalize it as, well, I am not enough, but also that I can't trust myself and that I don't love myself. And how that works is that over time, that trust in yourself starts to break down your love for yourself, because it creates mental patterns that essentially reinforce this idea. So what do I mean by that? What kind of mental patterns does it actually create? Well, these kind of mental patterns are like the self-sabotaging or creating dramas when you get bored. And that is a way that we actually stir up this want or desire to change or do something different or invigorate us. We often don't understand that we're doing this, that we're actually sending out this energy, which then manifests into some traumatic event or crazy experience in our lives that just brings with it all this upheaval. We don't understand that we're actually manifesting this, but we are. 100%. We are actually in control of this. And we do this when our lives feel stagnant. We do this because it's what we're familiar. It's the pattern that we're actually familiar with. And then that serves to reinforce this feeling of lack of love for oneself. I can't love myself. How can I love myself? You know, given all the circumstances that are occurring right now, how can I find time to love myself? I'm disgusted with the person that I am or used to be, and we live in the past. That's another thing that we do. We live in these moments, these memories of the past, and when we do that, that doesn't allow us to move forward. Instead of actually looking at those moments with the perspective of understanding, compassion, we will never move forward. And when you do look at these situations in the past with an open heart, then that allows for you to actually see the lessons that you have picked up from these situations. And oftentimes I'll talk about how your greatest traumas or experiences in life that have been the most painful, the most traumatic and deep, left the biggest scars and wounds on you, those are your greatest lessons to learn from. And in the last video, I actually referenced like talking about specific things, even just expressing them to somebody or in a journal or out loud to an imaginary person, just going through the timelines of your life. Sometimes you're always divinely guided, but what happened in my own case is that I was divinely guided to put two things back to back. Two things that, I knew they had some correlation, but I didn't understand the full correlation that they had. And when I had put them together, I had great revelations. My higher self stepped in and showed me all of the patterns and beliefs that I had created based upon one experience. So this happens all the time, and maybe you're not quite aware that it is occurring, but if you start to express these moments in your life that have caused this pain or have caused you to turn away from yourself and stop loving yourself and stop accepting yourself, then what happens is then you actually incur further and further patterns based upon this belief. And that's kind of what it's all about. It's about understanding the belief system behind the patterns. So once you understand your patterns and you voice it, you're going to be guided to what you need to know, or maybe just these moments coming together. Maybe you're not hearing a voice or you're not seeing anything, you don't have to. Just understand that the universe is working in your favor and that you do have a team behind you that's made up of so many different people. When I talk about your guides, in my sessions, I talk about guides and who they are and what purpose they're serving in your life currently. We have guides anywhere from deceased relatives, relatives who you've never actually met, who are in your family lineage, who have been, you made an agreement before you came here that they would be your guide. You have angels, you have ascended masters, you have all kinds of different guides. You have guides from previous lifetimes even. Like two of my guides are Native Americans, and they have been with me a long time, and that is because I lived several lives as a Native American, as a shaman and a medicine woman. I understand. And they have been with me for quite some time. So your guides do also change, but this is, not about guides. I diverge from the point. I tend to do that. I go off on a tangent, don't I? That's okay. So, why am I not wearing makeup today? I'm here with all my flaws, all my imperfections, to make a statement, I guess. Not to myself. I mean, oftentimes I rarely wear makeup, actually. Let's admit it. But to make a statement to you, to love and accept yourself for exactly who you are, because you are beautiful, regardless of the surface. The surface, as they say, is only skin deep, and that is true. Regardless of what you look like, what flaws you have, what things you don't enjoy about your appearance, you are you. You are unique, you are beautiful, and you have to find that love for yourself. And that's not always easy. I get that. I pick myself apart all the time. I do it. And I'm not perfect. I'm working on me, and I'm working on finding that love for me. And some of the things that you might want to consider if you have gone through those types of experiences that have made you turn away from yourself and made you start to, make up these excuses for why you can't love yourself, why you have to, in some cases, you may want to give to everybody else. And that was true for me until it finally hit me like, hello, I need to work on me. And that doesn't mean that I can't still provide or give to other people. No, what that means is finding a balance. It means finding that love and connection with myself, doing things that make me happy, like arts and crafts for me. Maybe it's something else for you, and that's totally okay. Whatever brings you that joy and satisfaction, that's what you need to incorporate into your life. Now, the other things that you want to actually maintain are your self-care. That's extremely important. And I'm not just talking about, brushing your teeth or doing your hair. Oftentimes, if you're a parent, especially a mom, you know how it goes. You're run ragged day after day after day after day. And if you're not leaving the house, are you getting out of your pajamas, or are you getting out of your sweats? Are you doing your hair? Are you doing your makeup? Probably not. And that's okay. But make sure to take some time out for you all the time. Show yourself that you do love yourself, and tell yourself that you are committed to loving yourself. This will open up the floodgates for your heart to receive the love that you're giving. Now, not only do you need to work on, that level, but you also need to embrace your inner child and give her that love and that, or him, that love and those hugs and those embraces. And one really great method is using the shower. I mean, often people talk about it for cleansing and for doing that, but I find, and perhaps some of you have already done this, but when you're in the shower, and you could probably do it in the bathtub too, but when I'm in the shower, the water going over my head, I can be still at that time. It's kind of the only time that I usually get away from my kids. It's when I'm in the shower. And what happens is that when I'm still like that, it's like a form of meditation. You can slow down the moments so that you can see each drop falling and falling and falling. And in those moments, once you finally slow down time, because time is non-existent, you can actually just see yourself. You can see you, and you can embrace you. And not only is it cleansing you from whatever emotions you might be tied to, it's a moment to be introspective with your inner child, with your younger self, or with your higher self. It's a moment where you can just let go and be you completely without the fear of somebody condemning you for wanting to love yourself, right? Because fear is what is driving all of these choices that we make. So if you choose to turn away from yourself and you choose not to take these moments for yourself, to show yourself that you love you, to do things that make you happy, maybe even to pamper yourself once in a while. Maybe money's tight and you can't really do that. I have that issue sometimes, just like, well, I make up these things that I say, oh, I don't have the money for that. I don't have the money for this. Well, then I get straight with myself and go, okay, well, but I'm creating that. So if I want to pamper myself, then I will, because I understand also that money is just a tool and it comes and it goes and it comes and it goes. And once you learn how to control it and control your thoughts, then you're fine. You come up fine. You can do these extra things for yourself. When you do all of these little extra things for yourself, you start building up confidence within yourself. You start believing within yourself that you do have love within you. Because really, that's what it boils down to, is that nobody loved me enough to stop the abuse. Nobody loved me enough to hold me when I was down and when I was sad and when I was alone. Nobody. So you need to go back and do that for yourself. And then you need to reinforce it by positive behaviors. Every time you start to think that you don't or you can't do something for yourself because time is limiting or money is limiting or partner is limiting, kids are limiting, whatever it is, job is limiting, whatever's limiting you, you need to cut the cord to that. And I'm not saying leave that, I'm just saying cut the cord to the idea that it's limiting you. Stop saying that in your head. Stop saying it out loud. Stop saying I don't have enough time, I don't have enough money, because you're creating that by saying it. Now start showing yourself instead by doing these little things. And maybe you start small. That's kind of what I did, like I started small. I started with the understanding of these thoughts and how I was creating my own reality. And then I started incorporating, even though I didn't really feel invigorated by doing any art, because that part of myself I pushed away at some point. I still started incorporating it slowly by doing one little thing. Maybe I just did a little section on a painting, and then, I worked further into it. Another week, I just picked one day a week and I would do something. Well, there's a bug in my house. Then what happened is that now I'm feeling more desire and more passion for it again. And when I do this artwork, and I know this from my past, I always used art as a therapy for me. It always worked. It carried me through the most difficult times in my life. And I'm thankful that I had the art that I could work on. I'm so thankful that I had that outlet, because otherwise it could have been a lot worse, honestly. But when I also do it, it gives me a satisfaction, like, great job. You finished it, you completed it, it looks great. And it doesn't need to be perfect, because art is so forgiving. That says a lot about us. Why aren't we so forgiving? Why can't we let go? Why can't we hold on to ourselves in the shower when we see our younger selves or our older selves and just say, I forgive you? In that moment, maybe you carried a lot of guilt and shame around it, or of any other experience that carried guilt and shame. Perhaps it's okay to just forgive yourself and say it. I forgive you. I know you didn't forgive yourself, but I forgive you for what you've done. Or I forgive that person Maybe you're not ready for that. That's okay. We'll work on forgiveness exercises in another video. But for now, I just want you to see what the root cause of some of these things are and some of the ideas that you can use to help yourself alleviate these issues, because it drives so much fear and anxiety within us when we don't show ourselves enough love. It's huge. It's rampant. I don't love myself and not enough. They go hand in hand in most people. Not all. Some people just have one, some people just have another. But if you find that you've experienced a lot of things in your life that have been, emotional upheavals that have led you down some paths that maybe you're not too happy about and you have guilt and shame, then look at these two things, these two beliefs, and start changing them. Every time they come into your brain or the past comes into your brain and it elicits a negative response within you and negative thought cycles, then put a stop to it. And when that happens, do something kind for yourself instead. So sometimes we need to rewire the thought process, which is what I talked about in the last video. But on the other hand, it goes simultaneously with some other pattern that is going to bring us up, because we never really get rid of a habit. We only replace it with something else. And whether you replace it with something bad or healthy, that's your choice. So when you see these thoughts or hear these thoughts coming through your head, put your mental stop up. Enough. I'm in control here. And then redirect your brain to something more positive. Then do something nice for yourself. It could be as simple as making a cup of herbal tea and taking 5 minutes away from your family or whatever the case may be, just to go and sip that tea. Maybe on the porch or the deck, maybe just on the lawn, and connect with Gaia. Maybe it's making a smoothie. I like doing that. Maybe it's just going to, if you're a girl, curl your hair or put some makeup on if you like it. Maybe it's not. Maybe you go to the mirror and you look at all your flaws and you point them out and you recognize them and you say, yeah, I can love this face. I can love these red cheeks. I can love these wrinkles because I know the story behind them. I know the emotions behind them. And because I can love myself, I can change myself. I can change my outward appearance based upon the love that I put in me, not based upon all the makeup that I put on my face, not based upon corrective surgeries or anything like that. Not anything that society deems necessary to be beautiful, but because I can see the beauty within me. And validate yourself for your love and for your experiences and for all these battle scars, because that's what they are. I don't have 16-year-old skin. And you know what? So be it. I have to accept that because I love myself. I have changed and I will continue to change, and I'll get gray hair and I'll get more wrinkles, and I'm hoping that they're laugh and smile wrinkles, not frowning wrinkles. Because with every day that we make progress in loving ourselves, the happier we become, the more whole and complete we become. So do what it takes to love yourself, show yourself that you love yourself, and pamper yourself, validate yourself. As I said in the previous video, nobody's going to do that for you. Nobody's going to do the work for you. Nobody is going to love you unless you love yourself. And that's hard. It's hard to accept. It's a hard pill to swallow, especially if you're in a relationship where you tell each other that you love each other, but then internally you're battling yourself day after day. All these emotions that are trapped inside, and you can't even talk to your partner about what you truly feel because you're afraid that it'll hurt them, or you internalize it to be painful for you if you do so because you don't love yourself. Let it go. Start loving yourself, because everybody else in your environment is going to mirror what you're putting out. And even if you're going through your day peaceful and calm and sweet to everybody else, if inside it's a crazy whirlwind of activity, of emotion and negativity, and you're suppressing all of that, it's still going to manifest itself within your environment and everybody you talk to. They're still going to mirror what's actually inside of you. So think about it. Think about that and consider doing some of these things for yourself. And of course, leave a comment below and tell me what works for you, or if this works for you. And otherwise, share. Share this video as much as you like. And leave me a thumbs up if you like it, okay? I will be doing another video, actually 2 videos on fear, but those ones are going to be based on past life fear and how to start healing that, as well as generational fear and how to start healing that, because that will be last, and that's simply because that's going to be probably a 2-part thing too, just because of the lengthiness of how you need to heal it, because it's not just your being, it's going to incorporate some past life, but it's also going to incorporate your ancestors. And the ones who are still living, maybe you're able to communicate to them or with them about these things. Maybe they're not willing or able to accept that reality, and that's okay too. You can still go in and provide healing based on envisioning. So we'll go through those 2 processes. All right, guys, so that's the end of the video. I really hope it helped. And I wonder if you're getting snowed in. Let me know, because the snow still hasn't stopped. It just keeps going and going and going. Anyhow, if you're interested in booking a session, then please feel free to check me out on my website. That is at stormbydesignintuitive.com. And you can also check me out on Facebook, or you can subscribe to my list for the blog posts. I will be doing a free reading draw at the beginning of every month. And yeah, I'll be picking out one of those platforms, as most of you already know. Some of you have already had the great experience of having a soul tapping session. I do offer other different types of sessions if you're interested. However, the soul tapping session is really like that. Oh, it's kind of like a therapeutic session, I guess. It's where you will advance the most in the quickest amount of time, because we're going to bring up all of your blocks that are keeping you from aligning with yourself. And which means if you're not in alignment with yourself, then you're not in alignment with the universe and all the miracles and gifts to receive. So, yeah, you can check that out. And I will talk to you guys shortly. I'll be doing some more videos just on meditations and things like that. So I hope you enjoy. Take care. Bye.